Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you see money forever. Imagine a man born in a world without internet, without credit cards, without a single stock market ticker. Yet he became one of the first millionaires on the planet. He did it with nothing but his mind, his voice, and a circus tent that could swallow a city. That man was Phineas Taylor Barnum, and the secrets he used are still alive today, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to pull the curtain back. What if I told you that the same rule that kept Barnum's coffers overflowing is so simple that most people scoff at it? What if I told you that the secret isn't a hidden investment, isn't a secret algorithm, isn't a magic formula whispered by the elite? It's a habit, a discipline, a rebellion against a culture that tells you to spend, spend, spend. This is not a history lesson. This is a blueprint for your own empire. And it starts right now, right here, with a single thought. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a dusty ledger from the 19th century, inked with numbers that look like ancient hieroglyphs. Now picture that same ledger turning into a modern credit card swipe, a notification that says, "You just earned $1,000. The bridge between those two images is built on the same principle Barnum lived by. Spend less than you earn. It sounds like a child's bedtime story, but it's the ironclad foundation of every fortune that still stands today. Barnum's first big gamble was a tiny circus that opened its doors for a ticket price of $5. He thought the glimmer of lights, the roar of the crowd, would be enough to fill the seats. It wasn't. He overspent on elaborate decor, on extravagant costumes, on a promise that his modest audience could not afford. The show folded faster than a cheap tent in a storm. He lost money, he lost pride, but he learned a lesson that would become his golden rule. The richest people are not the ones who make the most. They are the ones who keep the most. The difference between a millionaire and a debtor is not income. It is habit. You might be thinking, that's easy to say, but life is messy. That's exactly why this rule feels like rebellion. In a world where every billboard screams you need the newest gadget, where every influencer flaunts a lifestyle you can't afford, keeping more of what you earn is a radical act of self-respect. It tells the universe you are the master of your own river, not a tributary feeding someone else's ocean. Let's break it down into 3 steps you can start today. First, track every single cent that leaves your pocket for 30 days. No exceptions. Write it down, use an app, whatever works, but make the flow visible. Second, identify the leaks. Is it that daily coffee you never miss? Is it an impulse purchase on a flash sale? Is it a subscription you never use? Third, divert that water into a future fund. Put it in a separate account, call it your empire jar, and watch it grow. When you see that jar filling, you'll feel the power of restraint, the thrill of control. Barnum did exactly this when he sold off unused circus props for $2,000 and poured that cash into a traveling train show that would later become his greatest success. Think about it. Every dollar you refuse to waste is a brick in the foundation of your financial freedom. Every impulse you curb is a statement to the universe that you value your future more than the fleeting pleasure of the moment. This is not about deprivation. It is about empowerment. The more you guard your wealth, the more opportunities you create for yourself. When you finally have a surplus, you can invest in ideas, in people, in experiences that multiply your income. Barnum turned a modest surplus into a traveling spectacle that attracted crowds from coast to coast. He didn't need a Wall Street broker. He needed a stage and a crowd hungry for wonder. Now I want you to pause for a second. Have you ever bought something you didn't need just to impress someone else? Write, "I'm cutting it out," in the comments, and let's hold each other accountable. This community thrives on honesty, on sharing the wins and the setbacks. If you're feeling this fire, if you can already hear the echo of that cash register in your mind, smash that like button. That tiny click is your first act of commitment, a promise to yourself that you're ready to take the first step toward wealth. You may wonder why Barnum, a man who built massive spectacles, cared so much about a humble ledger. The answer lies in his understanding of reputation. He knew that a name could be worth more than any ticket price. He built his brand on trust, on promises kept, on the relentless pursuit of delivering what he advertised. When he promised a Fiji mermaid, people showed up, and even if the reality was a clever illusion, the audience felt the wonder. They left with a story. They left with a memory. And they left with the belief that Barnum could deliver the extraordinary. That belief turned into repeat business, into word of mouth that no advertisement could buy. Reputation is the intangible treasure that outlasts any vault. It is the echo that follows you in every negotiation, the handshake that seals deals before a contract is even signed. In today's digital age, reputation travels at the speed of light. A single tweet can make or break a brand. Barnum mastered this centuries before the first newspaper was printed. He understood that if people trusted you, they would pay you. They would stand in the lines. They would tell their friends. That is why he never compromised on his promises. He knew that each broken promise was a crack in the foundation of his empire. Ask yourself, what does your reputation say about you right now? Do people see you as reliable, as someone who delivers? Or do they see you as a fleeting trend, a one-time flash? The answer will determine how easily money flows to you. If you want the doors of opportunity to swing wide open, you must become the person people can count on. Every small action, every word spoken, every promise kept or broken is a brushstroke on the canvas of your legacy. Now, let's dive into the third secret that Barnum wielded like a magician's wand: attention. In his day, attention was scarce. Newspapers were limited, towns were isolated, and the only way to capture a crowd was to create a spectacle that could not be ignored. He built hoaxes. He staged daring acts. He whispered rumors that traveled faster than a horse-drawn carriage. The result? People lined up for hours, paying $5 for a glimpse of the impossible. He turned curiosity into cash, and curiosity is the most valuable currency today. We live in an age of constant distraction. Every second, a new notification pops up, vying for a slice of your focus. The market is flooded with content, and only the most magnetic messages break through the noise. Barnum's genius was to understand that the real product was not a ticket, not a trinket, but the attention he commanded. He sold possibilities, he sold emotions, he sold dreams. When you capture attention, you have the power to direct it, to shape perception, to create demand. Think about the last time you watched a viral video. Did you feel a surge of excitement? Did you want to share it? To be part of the conversation? That feeling is the same energy Barnum harnessed. He created a buzz that made people talk, argue, and most importantly, spend. The modern equivalent is a well-crafted YouTube thumbnail, a provocative headline, a teaser that leaves the audience hanging. When you master the art of attracting attention, you create a magnet that draws money toward you. Here's a simple exercise. Write down 3 ways you can capture attention in your own niche. It could be a bold promise, an unexpected visual, a story that starts with a shock. Don't overthink it. Just let the ideas flow. When you have those hooks, you have the seeds of a fortune. Barnum didn't need a massive budget to create buzz. He needed imagination, daring, and the willingness to be talked about, even if the talk was controversial. In today's world, controversy can be a catalyst, but remember that authenticity is the glue that holds it together. Now, let's bring all three secrets together. Imagine you have a solid habit of spending less than you earn, a reputation that shines like polished brass, and the ability to command attention like a spotlight on a stage. What does that look like? It looks like a business that grows on its own, a personal brand that attracts opportunities without chasing them, a life where money flows as naturally as breath. Barnum built his empire on those pillars, and you can build yours too. Before we move forward, I want you to reflect for a moment. What is the one area you feel the most resistance in? Is it the discipline of saving? Is it the fear of being judged if you fail? Is it the challenge of standing out in a crowded market? Write your thoughts in the comments, because articulating the obstacle is the first step to overcoming it. If this conversation is resonating, hit subscribe and ring the bell, because the next chapter will dive deeper into how to turn reputation into a high-ticket asset and how to monetize attention in ways you've never imagined. Remember, the journey to wealth isn't a sprint. It's a carefully choreographed performance. Every act, every scene, every curtain call matters. Barnum taught us that the show must never stop, that the audience must always feel something, and that the profit follows the applause. Your applause is the satisfaction of seeing your bank balance grow, the freedom to make choices without fear, the ability to shape your destiny. So, are you ready to step into the spotlight? Are you prepared to become the master of your own circus, the architect of your own fortune? The stage is set, the lights are warming up, and the crowd is waiting. Let's take the first step together and watch as the old secrets of a 19th century showman light the path to modern wealth. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your heart in the game, and let the magic begin. Imagine the crowd buzzing, the smell of sawdust, the roar of applause echoing through a wooden tent. Barnum knew that reputation was not a title you earned once and tucked away. It was a living, breathing organism that grew with every whisper, every newspaper headline, every word spoken behind the curtain. He didn't wait for fame to find him. He chased it, crafted it, fed it, and let it explode like fireworks over a midnight sky. He started with a simple promise: the greatest show on earth. He wrote it in bold letters on a hand-painted poster, hung it on a city wall, and then he delivered a spectacle that no one could forget. First time a curious traveler stepped into his tent, he was greeted by a chorus of exotic sounds, a parade of bright costumes, and a promise that something extraordinary lay just beyond the next curtain. That promise became the seed of his reputation. Every satisfied visitor became a messenger, a walking billboard, a living testimonial. And each new visitor arrived already convinced that they were about to witness something historic. Now pause for a moment. Think about your own name, your own brand, the little whisper that follows you wherever you go. Is it a murmur of doubt or a roar of confidence? Barnum understood that reputation is the most valuable asset because it is the bridge between you and the world's willingness to hand you its money. It is the silent contract that says, I am trustworthy, I deliver, I am worth your attention. So how do you turn a modest reputation into a high-ticket asset? First, you must define the core promise that sets you apart. Barnum's promise was spectacle. Yours could be transformation, mastery, freedom. Write it down, say it out loud, Repeat it until it becomes the rhythm of your every action. Second, you must deliver that promise consistently, over and over, until it becomes inevitable. Every product, every post, every conversation must reinforce that core message. Third, you must amplify it by letting others do the shouting for you. Ask satisfied customers for a story, a video, a recommendation. Turn each testimonial into a billboard that hangs in the digital streets where your audience walks. Remember the story of the elephant in the room that Barnum used to draw crowds. He didn't own an actual elephant at first. He bought the right to display a painted silhouette and let the imagination run wild. The rumor spread, the demand grew, and soon he could afford the real beast. The lesson is clear. Perception creates reality. In today's world, perception is built on social proof, on the number of followers, on the volume of shares, on the glow of 5-star reviews. Feed that perception, and the world will line up. Wallets open, ready to buy. Now let's shift the spotlight to the second secret, the art of turning attention into cash. Barnum was a master of this alchemy. He knew that the moment a person's eyes locked on his poster, a spark ignited. He turned that spark into a ticket sale, into a concession purchase, into a lifelong fan. His formula was simple yet profound. Capture attention, promise value, collect payment. In the 19th century circus, the ticket was the gateway. The sideshows were the upsell. The souvenir shop was the lingering profit. Translate that into the language of the internet. You have a headline that stops scroll, a thumbnail that commands a click, a video that holds the gaze. That is your ticket. Once the viewer is inside, you must deliver a micro-experience that exceeds the promise. And then you offer the next level, a course, a coaching session, a product line. Each step is a new ticket, a new revenue stream, a deeper commitment. The key is to make each offering feel inevitable, a natural continuation of the excitement you first sparked. Picture yourself standing on a stage, a single spotlight on you, the audience holding their breath. You speak a sentence that resonates, and they lean forward. That is the moment you have their attention. Now, you ask a question, a simple call to action. If this idea lights a fire inside you, click the link below to learn more. That tiny phrase is the bridge from fascination to transaction. Barnum used the phrase, "Step right up," to beckon his crowd. You use, "Click here," "Join me," "Discover more." The language changes, the principle stays the same. There is a hidden rhythm to this dance. First, you create scarcity, the fear of missing out. Barnum would announce that only a limited number of tickets remained, that the show would close its doors at sunset. Modern creators do the same with limited time offers, countdown timers, exclusive webinars. Second, you create urgency, a reason to act now. Third, you reinforce value, reminding the audience why this decision will change their life. When these three ingredients align, attention transforms into cash, just as the circus crowds turned curiosity into coin. Now, on to the third secret, the spend little, earn a lot formula that turned a modest troupe into an empire. Barnum started with a modest budget, a few $100s for a tent, a handful of performers, a single ticket price. He kept his costs razor thin, focusing on high-margin attractions. He sold cheap admission, but charged premium prices for the sideshows, the souvenir photos, the exclusive backstage tours. Every penny spent on the core experience generated multiple streams of revenue. Think of it like a river. The main flow is your primary product, the ticket. The tributaries are the upsells, the add-ons, the merchandise. By keeping the main current affordable, you invite a massive audience. Then you guide each visitor downstream into the tributaries, where the profit margins are richer. The secret is not to skimp on quality, but to allocate every dollar where it multiplies. Barnum invested every spare coin into a new act, a new mystery, a new spectacle that kept the audience coming back for more. In the digital age, this translates to building a low-cost entry point, such as a free ebook, a short video series, a webinar, and then offering a high-ticket program, a mastermind, a coaching package, a physical product line. The entry point builds trust. The high ticket offers the profit. The crucial piece is to ensure that each step adds genuine value. Otherwise, the audience will see through the illusion and walk away. Barnum never sold a cheap ticket and then delivered a cheap show. He sold an experience that felt priceless, even if the price tag was modest. Let's break this down into a practical roadmap. First, identify the core experience you want to provide for free or at a low cost. It could be a 5-minute video that solves a specific pain point. Second, design a series of premium experiences that deepen the transformation. Maybe it's a 3-month mentorship, a live retreat, a physical product that embodies the brand. Third, structure the pricing so that each tier feels like a natural progression, not a jump. The audience should feel that they are simply moving to the next level of the show, not being forced into an unfamiliar arena. Barnum's genius was also in his relentless testing. He would try a new act, gauge the crowd's reaction, adjust the lighting, change the script, and repeat. He understood that no masterpiece is born without iteration. In your journey, you must adopt the same mindset. Launch a pilot, gather feedback, refine the offer, and scale. The more you experiment, the sharper your funnel becomes, the more cash you'll extract from each captured attention. Now, let's talk about the fourth secret, the magic of advertising, the spell that turns desire into purchase. Barnum didn't rely on word of mouth alone. He crafted bold posters, dramatic headlines, and sensational stories that made people dream of being part of something extraordinary. He used exaggeration, mystery, and the promise of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The phrase, "see the amazing," became a mantra that sparked curiosity and compelled action. In the modern world, advertising is the same potion, just with different ingredients. The headline is your incantation. The visual is your conjuring wand. The copy is the charm that binds the mind. You must paint a picture so vivid that the audience can almost feel the texture, hear the sound, taste the success. Use power words: unleash, transform, discover, secret. Create a story that places the viewer at the center, as the hero about to claim a treasure. Then embed a clear call to action, a button, a link, a phone number. The call to action is the final spell that turns the imagined treasure into a real transaction. Barnum also mastered the art of scarcity in his ads. He would announce that the miracle elephant would appear only for a limited number of shows. That urgency forced people to decide quickly, lest they miss out. Today, you can add a countdown timer, a limited seat webinar, a limited edition product line. The scarcity must be genuine. Otherwise, credibility erodes. When the audience believes that time is slipping away, the brain releases dopamine, and the purchase decision becomes almost reflexive. Another pillar of Barnum's advertising was the use of social proof. He displayed testimonials from famous visitors, newspaper clippings, endorsements from respected figures. In the digital realm, this translates to reviews, case studies, influencer collaborations. Show that others have walked the path, succeeded, and are now cheering you on. The audience doesn't need to trust you alone. They need to trust the crowd that has already trusted you. Lastly, remember that advertising is not a one-off event. It is a continuous performance. Barnum would change his posters seasonally, add new acts, reinvent his slogans. You must keep your ads fresh, test new angles, rotate creatives, and stay ahead of the audience's evolving desires. The more you experiment, the more you discover which magical words ignite the fire in your market. At this point, you have the 4 pillars: a reputation that shines like polished brass, the ability to turn attention into cash, the spend little earn big formula, and the advertising spell that creates desire. These are the same building blocks that allowed Barnum to turn a modest tent into a global empire. They are timeless, immutable, and they work today just as they did in the age of horse-drawn carriages. Now, take a breath. Feel the weight of the knowledge you've just absorbed. It is not just theory. It is a blueprint for action. The next step is yours to take. Write down the core promise you will deliver. Sketch the first low-cost entry point you will offer. Design the first high-ticket experience you will create. Draft a headline that will make your audience sit up straight. Then, go out and test it. Launch it. Iterate. The world is waiting for your circus. Before we close, I want you to pause one more time and answer this. Which of the 4 pillars feels the most challenging for you right now? Is it building a reputation that people trust? Is it capturing attention in a sea of noise? Is it structuring your offers so that you spend little and earn a lot? Or is it crafting the perfect advertisement that makes people click? Drop your answer in the comments below. The act of writing it down creates momentum, a tiny spark that can ignite a massive change. If the fire inside you is burning brighter, give this video a like. Let that like be the first ticket you sell to your future self, a promise that you are committed to the journey. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell, because the next episode will dive even deeper into the psychology of scarcity, the neuroscience of desire, and the exact scripts you can use to close high-ticket sales in minutes. Remember, wealth is not a destination. It is a performance art. Every day you step onto the stage, you have the chance to rewrite the script, to add a new act, to raise the curtain on a bigger vision. Barnum once said, "There is no such thing as a small audience. There is only a small mind." Expand your mind, and the audience will follow. So, are you ready to become the ringmaster of your own destiny? Are you prepared to light up the night sky with the brilliance of your ideas? To hear the applause of a world that finally recognizes your value? The lights are already warming up. The crowd is murmuring. The music is humming beneath the tent. All that remains is for you to step forward, to raise your voice, and to claim the fortune that is waiting for the bold. Take the first step now. Open a notebook, write the word "Showtime," and schedule the first action you will take within the next 24 hours. Whether it's posting a teaser, sending an email, or designing a flyer, make it happen. Momentum is the true magician. It turns intention into reality. And as you walk away from this video, carry this promise with you. You are not just a spectator of wealth. You are the creator, the director, the star of the greatest show on earth. The stage is yours. The curtain is rising. Let the magic begin. Now that the curtain has risen, the lights have been dimmed just enough for you to see the outline of the next act. It is time to dive deeper into the machinery that kept P.T. Barnum's empire humming while the rest of the world slept. You have already felt the pulse of the golden rule. You have tasted the electricity of the first spark. But the show does not stop at a single flame. It spreads. It multiplies. It becomes a blaze that engulfs every corner of your reality. Listen closely, because the next secret is the engine that turned tiny tricks into a nationwide phenomenon. It is the secret that modern influencers still whisper when they talk about brand equity and personal capital. It is the secret of reputation. Barnum understood that reputation is not a static badge you wear. It is a living, breathing organism that feeds on perception and exudes power. He did not simply build a circus, he built a legend that survived wars, depressions, and the rise of television. He did it by treating his name as the most valuable asset he owned, more precious than any ticket stub or gold coin. Imagine for a moment you are standing in a bustling 19th century New York street. A crowd gathers around a wooden sign that reads, "The Great Sultan of the Sky." No one knows if the man inside can truly levitate, but the word great already tugs at the imagination. Barnum's genius was to let the rumor do the heavy lifting. He fed the rumor with just enough proof to keep the audience hungry, never fully satisfying, always wanting more. What does that mean for you today? It means you must become the curator of your own myth. Every post, every email, every conversation is a brushstroke on the canvas of your public image. If you speak about failure, speak about the lesson. If you showcase a success, showcase the process behind it. The audience does not care about the final product. They care about the story that brought it into being. Your reputation, therefore, becomes a magnetic field that attracts opportunities like iron filings to a magnet. Now, pause for a beat and answer this in the comments. ¿Qué opinas? Do you feel the weight of your own reputation? Or have you been letting it drift like a loose balloon? Write your thoughts below, because the act of externalizing your mind creates a mirror that reflects back clarity. The next pillar in Barnum's Tower of Wealth is the alchemy of attention. He knew that attention is the raw material of wealth, the ore that must be refined into gold. In his day, the only way to capture attention was to create a spectacle that could not be ignored. He placed a man with a bearded lady on a pedestal. He showed a tiger that seemed to defy nature. He announced a miracle that would cure any ailment. Each of these promises was a hook, a glittering bait that pulled the masses into his orbit. In the digital age, the battlefield has shifted, but the principle remains unchanged. The modern audience scrolls through endless feeds, bombarded by 1,000 distractions per minute. To cut through that noise, you must become a master of intrigue, a magician of curiosity. Start every headline with a question that makes the reader pause. Begin every video with a visual that shocks, that makes the eyes widen. Offer a promise that feels almost too good to be true. Then deliver enough value to keep the audience coming back for more. Take a moment now to think of the last piece of content you consumed that made you stop scrolling. What was the hook? Was it a bold claim? A striking image? A mysterious teaser? Write that down. Then ask yourself how you can replicate that hook in your own niche. This is the practical step that turns theory into action. If you feel a surge of excitement, type "I'm ready" in the chat and let that little affirmation seal the commitment in your mind. Now we arrive at the formula that Barnum whispered in the back rooms of his tents. Spend little, earn much. This is not a gimmick. It is a strategic allocation of resources that turns scarcity into abundance. Barnum was a master of leverage. He did not own 100 elephants. He owned the idea of the elephant, the story that the elephant could do the impossible. He rented the animal, he billed the audience, and he kept the profit margin soaring. He understood that the true cost is not the price tag on the asset, but the cost of the narrative that surrounds it. Apply this today by asking every investment of yours, does this purchase amplify my story, or does it merely fill my shelves? Does this ad campaign expand my reach, or does it simply consume my budget? Does this product enhance my brand, or does it dilute my focus? When the answer leans towards dilution, cut it out. When it leans towards amplification, double down. This is the dance of the entrepreneur, a choreography where every step is measured, every movement intentional. Let me illustrate with a modern example. Imagine you are a coach selling a high-ticket program. Instead of pouring money into a massive billboard campaign that reaches thousands of strangers, you invest in a single high-quality webinar that showcases your expertise, invites a handful of qualified prospects, and converts them at a rate that dwarfs the cost of the billboard. You have spent little, but you have earned a cascade of revenue that reverberates through your business. Now, breathe in the rhythm of this principle. Feel the heartbeat of leverage. Write down one area where you can cut the excess and redirect that energy into a high-impact lever. Share it with the community, because accountability multiplies the odds of success. Type leverage in the comments if you're ready to make that shift. The final secret, the secret that Barnum guarded like a treasure chest, is the art of advertising as pure magic. He did not sell tickets. He sold the dream of being part of something extraordinary. He painted pictures with words, with colors, with promises that danced at the edge of possibility. He understood that the most powerful advertisement is not a loud shout, but a whisper that lingers in the mind long after the crowd has dispersed. In practice, this means you must craft messages that evoke emotion before they deliver logic. Start with a visceral image, a child's eyes lighting up at the sight of a carousel, a traveler feeling the wind on a rooftop in a foreign city, a student hearing the applause of a graduation hall. Then, attach your offer as the bridge that makes that feeling attainable. Your copy becomes a conduit, a pathway from desire to fulfillment. Remember the classic phrase, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Barnum lived by this creed. He never advertised a circus. He advertised wonder. He never sold a ticket. He sold an escape from the monotony of daily life. When you write your next ad, ask yourself, what emotion am I awakening? What story am I inviting the audience to become a part of? If you can answer that, you have already captured the most valuable piece of the puzzle. Now, let us put this into motion. Grab a piece of paper or open a fresh document on your screen. Write down 3 emotions you want your audience to feel when they think of your brand. Under each emotion, jot a headline that would spark that feeling. Then, beneath each headline, write a single sentence that tells the reader how your product or service delivers that promise. This is your advertising spell, ready to be cast. If you feel the power of these words humming in your fingertips, type spellbound below. Let the community feel the energy you're generating, and let it feed the collective momentum of this room. At this point, you have been handed the 5 pillars that built an empire long before the age of smartphones and social media. You have the golden rule of wealth, the reputation engine, the attention to cash converter, the spend little earn much formula, and the advertising spell. The question now is not whether you can apply them, but when you will choose to act. The answer lies in the simple act of deciding right now, in this very moment, to step onto the stage with confidence. The world will not wait for you to wait for you. Perfect every detail. It rewards the bold, the daring, the ones who move forward, despite the fear that whispers in the shadows. Take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel the rhythm of your heart, syncing with the drum roll of anticipation. You are the ringmaster of your destiny. the architect of your fortune, the storyteller of your own legend. The tools are in your hands. The audience is waiting. The spotlight is ready to illuminate your path. So, here is your final challenge. Within the next 24 hours, create one piece of content that embodies all 5 principles. It could be a video, a blog post, an email sequence, a social media carousel. Anything that showcases your reputation, captures attention, offers value while spending little, and casts an irresistible advertisement. Publish it, share it, watch the reactions, and take notes on the flow of energy. This is the test that separates the dreamers from the doers. When you finish, come back to this video and tell us in the comments exactly what you posted, how it felt, and what the first response was. The community will celebrate your win, and we will all learn from the ripple you create. Together, we build a network of creators who lift each other higher, just as Barnum lifted his audience with each new marvel. Before we close, I want to leave you with a final thought that echoes through the halls of every great circus, every thriving empire, every timeless brand. Wealth is not a destination you arrive at and then rest. It is a performance, a perpetual act that demands rehearsal, improvisation, and relentless passion. The stage is never truly empty. It is constantly humming with possibility, waiting for the next act you will write. If this message resonated, if you feel the fire of ambition roaring louder than ever, show it. Hit the like button as if you were buying the first ticket to your own show. Subscribe, because the next episode will peel back the curtain on the neuroscience behind desire, the hidden triggers that make people say yes, and the exact scripts you can use to close high-ticket sales in minutes. Ring the bell so you never miss a cue, a moment, a chance to level up. Remember the words of Barnum himself. There is no such thing as a small audience. There is only a small mind. Expand your mind, and the audience will follow. Expand your vision, and the world will open doors you never imagined. Expand your courage, and the riches will flow like a river that never runs dry. Now, go forth. Write Showtime on that notebook. Schedule your first action, and walk onto the stage with your head held high. The lights are already warming up. The crowd is murmuring. The music is humming beneath the tent. All that remains is for you to step forward, to raise your voice, to claim the fortune that is waiting for the bold. Take the first step now. Open a notebook, write the word Showtime, and schedule the first action you will take within the next 24 hours. Whether it's posting a teaser, sending an email, or designing a flyer, make it happen. Momentum is the true magician. It turns intention into reality. And as you walk away from this video, carry this promise with you. You are not just a spectator of wealth. You are the creator, the director, the star of the greatest show on earth. The stage is yours. The curtain is rising. Let the magic begin. Now, let us step deeper behind the velvet rope and uncover the next secret that Barnum guarded like a priceless jewel. He understood that money is not a solitary entity. It thrives on the echoes of your name, the whispers of your reputation. Imagine a circus tent that stretches across a continent, each canvas panel stitched with stories of wonder. Each ticket sold because the crowd believes they are about to witness something extraordinary. That belief is not born from the spectacle alone. It is forged in the furnace of reputation. Barnum's reputation was his most valuable asset. He did not simply shout louder. He built a brand that people trusted to deliver amazement. He once wagered a modest sum on a promise that if he could not fill a New York hall with 1,000 paying spectators, He would give away all the tickets he had sold. He succeeded, not because he forced people into seats, but because his name had become synonymous with an experience no one wanted to miss. The lesson is crystal clear. If the world trusts you to deliver value, they will line up, wallets open, eager to pay. So how do you, in this age of endless noise, cultivate a reputation that magnetizes wealth? First, you must be relentless. In delivering on every promise, no matter how small, think of every email you send, every piece of content you publish, every promise you make to a client. Treat each as a brick in the grand edifice of your name. Consistency breeds credibility, and credibility breeds opportunity. Second, turn every setback into a public story of resilience. Barnum once lost a shipment of exotic animals to a storm, yet he turned the disaster into a headline, "The Great Storm That Could Not Stop the Show." He framed the loss as a testament to his determination. When you share your failures openly, you demonstrate confidence, and confidence invites trust. Now, pause for a moment. If you have ever felt the sting of a broken promise, whether it was a missed deadline or a product that didn't live up to hype, comment below with the word rebuild. Let us know you are ready to reconstruct your reputation brick by brick. The community will hold you accountable, and together we will rise. With reputation solidified, the next lever in Barnum's arsenal is attention. He knew that attention is the raw material of wealth, the ore that must be refined into gold. In a world where 1,000 voices clamor for a single ear, he learned to cut through the chatter with spectacle, curiosity, and the promise of the impossible. He would announce a human oddity that no one had ever seen, a mystery of the deep sea that sparked imaginations across newspapers. People stopped scrolling, stopped talking, and turned their gaze toward his tent. Translate that to today's digital arena. Your audience is scrolling through feeds, swiping past ads, ignoring banners. To capture their gaze, you must become the magician who makes the ordinary extraordinary. Start with a headline that unsettles, a thumbnail that provokes, a hook that poses a question no one can ignore. For example, instead of saying, "How to save money," ask, "What if you could double your savings without cutting a single latte?" The brain latches onto the paradox, the promise of a shortcut, and the scroll stops. Barnum also mastered the art of scarcity. He would announce that a particular act would only appear for a limited night, that tickets were limited, that the chance to see the marvel would vanish forever. Scarcity creates urgency, and urgency converts attention into cash. In modern terms, you can employ limited time offers, exclusive webinars, early bird pricing, or a countdown timer on a landing page. The key is authenticity. False scarcity erodes trust, while genuine scarcity fuels desire. Take a breath. Feel the pulse of your own attention-to-cash engine humming. If you have ever felt the thrill of a limited-time offer that you could not resist, type yes in the comments. Let the universe know you are tuned into this frequency. Now we arrive at the formula that ties together frugality, reputation, and attention. Spend little, earn much. Barnum was a master of leveraging minimal resources for maximal impact. He would purchase a single exotic animal, then build an entire narrative around it, charging admission for the story, the mystery, the spectacle. He did not need a fleet of elephants to draw crowds. He needed a single, well-crafted tale that made people feel they were part of something larger. Practice. This means you must identify the high-leverage assets in your life. The one skill, one story, one platform that can be multiplied through clever packaging. You do not need a massive ad budget to launch a product. You need a compelling story that resonates enough for people to share it for free. Barnum's greatest show on earth was not financed by a bank. It was financed by the collective belief of a crowd that bought tickets because they believed they were part of history. To apply this today, start by auditing your resources. List the tools, talents, and connections you already possess. Then ask, which of these can be amplified tenfold with a modest investment? Perhaps you have a talent for storytelling. You can turn that into a podcast series that attracts sponsorships. Perhaps you have a small email list. You can craft a high-value lead magnet that converts a fraction of those readers into paying clients. The secret lies in focusing your energy on the lever that moves the most weight and then pulling that lever repeatedly. Let's illustrate with a concrete example. Imagine you are an aspiring fitness coach with a modest following on social media. Instead of spending thousands on gym equipment ads, you could create a 30-day challenge that requires no equipment, film short daily videos, and invite participants to share their progress. The challenge becomes a community. The community fuels word of mouth, and the word of mouth fills your calendar with paying clients. All you needed was the initial spark of a simple idea, the discipline to execute, and the willingness to let the crowd amplify your message. Now, if you have ever taken a small idea and turned it into something bigger, share the word amplify in the chat. Let us celebrate the power of leverage together. The final pillar of Barnum's empire is what I like to call the advertising spell. He didn't just sell tickets, he sold desire. He painted pictures with words that made people imagine themselves under the big top, tasting caramel popcorn, hearing the roar of the lion, feeling the rush of the trapeze. He used vivid language, dramatic pauses, and promises of transformation. He understood that people don't buy products. They buy the feeling of becoming someone else, of experiencing the extraordinary. In the modern world, advertising is still a spell, but the incantations have evolved. Visuals must be crisp, copy must be concise yet evocative, and calls to action must be irresistible. The trick is to tap into the deep-seated emotions that drive purchasing decisions. Pride, fear of missing out, longing for belonging, the desire for status. When you craft a message that speaks directly to those emotions, you create a magnetic pull that draws the audience toward your offer. Barnum's famous freak show was not merely an exhibit of oddities. It was a narrative that told each visitor, you are about to witness the impossible, and you will be part of a story that will be told for generations. He gave each viewer a sense of participation in something historic. Today, you can give your audience a sense of participation by involving them in product development, by inviting them to beta test, by creating a community where their voices matter. When customers feel they are co-creators, they become evangelists, and the advertising cost drops to near zero because the community markets for you. Take a moment to imagine your own advertising spell. Picture a headline that makes a person's heart skip a beat, a visual that stops them mid-scroll, a promise that feels like a secret only they have discovered. That is the essence of the magic Barnum wielded, and it is within your grasp. If you have ever crafted a headline that stopped you in your tracks, type spellbound below. Let's see how many of you are already wielding this power. Now that we have laid out the 5 timeless principles, spend less than you earn, build an unshakable reputation, convert attention into cash, leverage minimal input for maximal output, and cast an advertising spell. Let us weave them together into a practical roadmap you can start using today. Step 1. Conduct a wealth audit. Write down every source of income, every expense, every promise you have made to your audience, and every piece of content you have created. This audit is your ledger. your map of the terrain. Look for leaks, unnecessary subscriptions, impulsive purchases, or promises you haven't fulfilled. Seal those leaks immediately. This is the foundation of the golden rule. Step 2. Choose one reputation-building habit to adopt for the next 30 days. It could be replying to every comment within 24 hours, delivering a piece of content on schedule without fail, or publicly sharing a lesson learned from a recent failure. Consistency here builds trust, and trust fuels future sales. Step 3. Design an attention-grabbing hook for your next piece of content. Write 3 different headlines, each with a twist of curiosity, scarcity, or bold promise. Test them on a small segment of your audience and observe which one stops the scroll. Use that winning hook as the centerpiece of your next campaign. Step 4. Identify the single high-leverage asset you possess. If you are a writer, it may be your ability to craft stories. If you are a designer, it may be your eye for visual storytelling. Package that asset into a product or service that can be sold at a premium. Remember, the price is not the barrier, the perceived value is. Use your reputation and attention to justify the price. Step 5. Craft an advertising spell that aligns with the emotions of your ideal customer. Write a short script that paints a vivid picture of the transformation they will experience. Include a clear, urgent call to action, perhaps a limited-time discount or a bonus that expires at midnight. Release the spell across your chosen channels and watch the response. Implement these steps one by one, and you will begin to feel the gears of wealth turning. The first few days will feel like a rehearsal, but each practice round brings you closer to the final performance. Remember, Barnum never built his empire overnight. He rehearsed, refined, and relaunched his acts until the crowd roared in unison. Now, let's address a common objection that haunts many aspiring entrepreneurs. I don't have the time. Barnum faced a similar dilemma when he was juggling multiple shows, traveling across the country, and raising a family. He solved it by delegating, by turning his most trusted performers into co-creators, and by automating the logistics of ticket sales. In your world, delegation can mean hiring a virtual assistant for administrative tasks, using automation tools for email sequences, or partnering with a collaborator who complements your skill set. By freeing your mind from the minutia, you create space for strategic thinking, the true engine of wealth. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks, type delegate in the comments. Let us remind each other that we do not have to do everything alone. Another fear that surfaces is the dread of failure. Barnum's career is dotted with spectacular collapses, bankruptcies, fires, lawsuits. But each disaster was a stepping stone, a lesson that refined his next act. He never allowed a setback to define him. He allowed it to teach him. The same principle applies to you. View each misstep as data, not defeat. Record what went wrong, adjust the script, and go back on stage stronger. The audience never remembers the failed rehearsals. They only remember the dazzling performance. If you have ever turned a failure into a lesson, share the word resilience below. Your story may ignite someone else's courage. Now, let's bring the energy back to the present moment. Feel the electric buzz of possibility coursing through you. The stage is set, the lights are bright, and the audience, your future clients, your partners, your community, waits with bated breath. All that separates you from the applause is action. Take a pen, open a fresh notebook, and write the word showtime in bold letters across the top of the first page. Underneath, list the 3 immediate actions you will take within the next 24 hours to activate each of the 5 principles. Perhaps you will cancel a subscription, reply to 5 comments, draft a headline, outline a premium offer, and record a short video ad. Whatever the actions, make them concrete, time-bound, and visible. Place the notebook somewhere you will see it each morning as a reminder of your commitment. Now, as you close this video, remember the promise you made to yourself at the start: to become the architect of your own fortune, to wield reputation like a crown, to turn attention into gold, to leverage scarcity and spectacle, and to cast spells that enchant the market. The tools are in your hands. The only missing ingredient is your decisive will. If this resonated with you, if the fire inside you burns brighter than ever, let the world know. Hit the like button as if you were buying the first ticket to your own show. Subscribe, because the next episode will peel back the curtain on the neuroscience behind desire, the hidden triggers that make people say yes, and the exact scripts you can use to close high-ticket sales in minutes. Ring the bell so you never miss a cue, a moment, a chance to level up. Remember the words of Barnum himself: "There is no such thing as a small audience. There is only a small mind." Expand your mind, and the audience will follow. Expand your vision, and the world will open doors you never imagined. Expand your courage, and the riches will flow like a river that never runs dry. Now, go forth. Write "Showtime" on that notebook. Schedule your first action, and walk onto the stage with your head held high. The lights are already warming up. The crowd is murmuring. The music is humming beneath the tent. All that remains is for you to step forward, to raise your voice, to claim the fortune that is waiting for the bold. Take the first step now. Open a notebook, write the word "Showtime," and schedule the first action you will take within the next 24 hours. Whether it's posting a teaser, sending an email, or designing a flyer, make it happen.